Hey, can I have this speaker? Can I have this speaker?
What, for music?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you going to connect your phone to it? Or do you want
Oh,
to
if
just
you
use
got a
mine?
spare, I'll just use yours.
Yeah.
Is it already connected?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Thank you. Hi. We are going to be doing a BPD live because I found out some information that gave me extreme epiphanies to anyone that has BPD or anyone who has to live with someone who has BPD. Where's my she's? Where's your what? Jacob. Where's your what? Hold on, I gotta wait till more people get in here. Hey, Michaela Ling Shed. I'll get to your shed. I just had an epiphany about BPD, so I went on live immediately. Will this be on YouTube? Yeah, I'm gonna put it on YouTube because you're gonna. Hopefully, if you hear it now. What is that? I don't want to hear this one. Yeah, I'm gonna put it on there. Hold on, I'm trying to find a decent playlist. Okay. I know you won't stay, that's fine. Thanks. It was only $25. I'm gonna share, when I get back home, I'm gonna share the seller. I do, Michaela, but they'll come back out. Right now I'm booked up, but if you wait until mid-February, it'll allow you in. All right. So I'm gonna talk to you about this BPD thing that I learned about. And I'm not answering that stuff right now. Are you getting your back blown? No, that's not the target of this. But I know a lot of my followers either have been diagnosed with BPD or they have a relative about that suffers from BPD. And the biggest problem, hey, Mr. James, the biggest problem that people who have been diagnosed with BPD have is explaining to other people what it is like not to have a self. Okay? That is one of the hardest things to explain to someone is not having a self, because the majority of the population has a self. So it is not an issue for them, and it's very hard to understand why you don't have a self. So today, Philip randomly sent me this TED Talk that was released 5 days ago by Hold on. Ananthaswamy. Anil Ananthaswamy on TED.com. And his intention wasn't to speak on BPD, but something he said started making things click, click, click in my head. So, I'm going to explain through Ananthaswami's words what it is when you do not have a self. Because I just had multiple epiphany moments with Philip, and he was like, oh, even though he doesn't completely understand because he has a self. So, when you ask non-BPD people, who are you? Or non-BPD people, you tell them to ask themselves, who am I? They will go, and apparently, seriously, for those that are BPD, seriously, when he said this, I answered totally different, but apparently, most people go, I am such and such, I was born on this day, I'm an entrepreneur, I am a good person, I do this, I do that, I'm creative, I'm Brandy, right? That is not the answer that I gave at all. And that's what made me pay attention. So for me, when somebody says, who are you? Or I ask myself, who am I? I'm literally like, well, my name is Jennifer and I live inside this. That was my answer. My name is, Jennifer, and I live inside this. This is my body. That is not the normal answer. That's not the normal answer. Okay? I am Jennifer, and I live in this. Okay? So, that made me, no, I don't just exist. I am Jennifer, and I live inside this. Okay? This is going to click in a minute. I occupy this. So then he said, I'm going to ask the audience to hold up your hand. And I'm holding up my hand. And he goes, whose hand is that? And everybody else was like, this is my hand. And I fucking answered, this is my body's hand. That was what I thought. Most people go, this is my hand. And I'm like, no, it's connected to my body. It's my body's hand. No, I'm at someone's house. So he kept, you see what I'm saying? So it wasn't my hand. This is just the hand connected to my body. Okay? So do y'all, right? I'm going to put it all together in a minute for those that don't connect it. And I was like, okay, that's not, I'm really, really not normal. It gave me more insight into myself. Because those that have been with me, I did therapy for a really long time to get as good as I am. So then I just had an epiphany, and I'm talking to Philip, and I was like, oh my God. The self in most people is the unity of experiences. The unity of the experiences. And let me change that. The unity of the simultaneous experiences between the body and the mind. That is not the case with us at all. At all. Okay? So let me explain for those that are not BPD. When I got graped, when I was forced to eat some grapes, we all know what I'm talking about here in TikTok lingo. When I was forced to eat some grapes. Thank you. Do y'all got me? When I was forced to eat some grapes? The reason I don't have trauma for it, the reason we do not get trauma from these experiences is because only my body ate grapes. I wasn't graped. My body was graped. So in regular people, this is together. So no, it's not that we separate ourselves. No. It is not dissociation. No. We are fully aware of everything that's going on. I can tell you what the man smelled like, what he was wearing, where I was at, what time of night it was. There is no disassociating. Absolutely not. This is why y'all have to follow me here. That is not what happens with BPD. No disassociation at all. It's not a split. I don't even use that word split when it comes to BPD. Absolutely not. I am completely conscious. We are completely conscious and remember every single thing that happens that is considered traumatic to other people. Okay? The missing self is because we are born with a complete disconnect between the mind's experiences and the body's experiences. It is not there. When you hit that switch, it's gone. It's gone. So this is why I got angry when eating grapes happened. I got angry because I was effing insulted. Like, who told you that you could come and do this to my body? You understand what I'm saying? There was no disassociation there. I knew exactly what was going on. And I was furious that this person had the audacity to think that it was okay to disable me and to violate my body that way. Nothing up here. Nothing up here. I wasn't dissociated. It had nothing to do with my mind. Nothing. That's why we don't have effects from it. I had no traumatic effects involving intimacy or intercourse. That person, what they were wearing doesn't bother me. If I see another person like that, it was a specific race and what they were wearing doesn't faze me. There's nothing traumatic. Okay, so that's what it is. We're missing, apparently, what Anil's talk helped me understand is what the self is for normal people. So it is a united, simultaneous experience between the mind and the body. That is what self is. No, dream weaving. When a non-BP person gets raped, their mind feels violated. See what I'm saying? Their mind feels violated as well. They have a self. They're like, my self was violated. The self is the unity between the experiences of the mind and the body simultaneously. We don't have that. So it was unrelated. I was really mad that it was happening. That made me mad. You gross, nasty thing. Why did you do that? It's not disassociated. Absolutely not. Y'all, let me understand. Let me clear this up again, because I've been teaching about BPD for so long that this really off. Okay? Disassociation is when you clock out Okay? We do that for no reason. That is not what is happening when we go through experiences that should be traumatic for other people. Absolute. You can believe whatever you would like, but the science shows this. And I don't participate in believing what you want to over science. We do disassociate, and that's when we just the fuck out. We're just out of there. And hours can go by, and we're like, what? What was I doing? Oh my God, it's 2 hours later. That's not what I'm talking about. When you have BPD, things like that do not traumatize your soul, period. Period. You don't like it. You hope that person does not breathe for much longer. But it is not disassociation at all. You are hyper aware. You remember things clearly when stuff like that checks in. You remember every single moment, every chin hair, every smell, every noise. You remember all of it. You record it automatically. You're very, very conscious and present during traumatic incidents with BPD. It does not affect you the way it affects a normal person. And that is why, the reason for that is why, now there's no disrespect either. That's just how, it's not something you try. If you have true BPD, that is just how you react, period. I have, but I'm not talking about them right now. So it's not something you try to do, it's automatic. When you, like I've gotten in violent car accidents. There's no blank out. I know exactly what happened. My blood pressure doesn't really go up. I can remember every movement, every piece of glass that hit my face, and I'm still not afraid to go through the same intersection the next day. And it doesn't have to do with being brave. You just don't register the way other people do because there is no unified simultaneous experience between the mind and the body. That does not happen. So his talk blew my mind because of the answers that I gave. And that's what allowed me to go, oh my. This is also why we do other things. Like, I'm going to give you an example of things that I've done. Hey, Tutu. I had an old scar on my inner thigh. I had a lot of scar tissue on. And one day I woke up really ill. I had a fever. I didn't know what was going on. Long story short, there was a abscess under my scar tissue. And I couldn't get to it. Sometimes blah, blah, blah. Sometimes it suppresses the memory and all that. So I knew my temperature was going up. I was starting to get really nauseous. My temperature was about at 108. I had to get this out of my thigh. Because it was, you can get sepsis. No, we don't know, Melania. We do not have trauma. We don't have it. I'll get back to that in a minute. So, it wasn't that, this is how because I was talking to Philip about it. I didn't think, I need to get this out of my body. I have to open this abscess or I'm going to get septic. Listen now. I didn't think I need to open this because I'm going to get septic. I don't talk about my religion. My mind was, I need to get this out of my system or my body is going to be septic. That is how I think, and it did not occur to me until I just listened to this person. No, you didn't know, that's fine. And so, since it was behind my scar tissue, I have a dagger knife that I keep under my bed. So I got it and I burned it on both sides, and then I soaked it in alcohol, and I threw one leg over the tub, and I lined it up, bending over, because I had to go through scar tissue, and I went pop, and it went in about that far, not close enough to hit the femoral, and I don't want to discuss what came out of me. Very calmly. Why? Because I wasn't stabbing myself, I was stabbing my leg in order to prevent my body from getting sick. There is such a disconnect that I did not realize until I listened to that TED Talk. In other words, it was too late for me to go to the hospital. They would have took so long in the emergency room that if that thing had opened internally, because it was about this big, like when you feel in my thigh, if it had been opened internally, it would have been disastrous for my body. So it is it's not even a third person. It's that you live in this body. Colloquially, you say my body. But it's like this body could have been filled by any mind. It happened to be mine. But it could have been any other one. I just happened to get deposited in this one at this time. But yeah, this is also why we do things that seems brave, but it's not. It's a calculation. That's good, Prozac Brad. How do you handle the pain? If I know that the injury I'm going to commit to myself will stop my body from getting sick, I'll do it anyway. So my body is not special. I just happen to be deposited in this one. So anyway, when it comes to things that people think are brave, it's not. We're calculating. So like one time I threw my 270-pound butt in front of a car that was going 25 miles an hour because the child was hidden by the cars parked on the side of the road. And this baby this was my kid, wasn't even 2. If they got hit by the car, that's going to harm the body too much that they could pass. But if I got hit by the car, I'm going to hurt something, but I'll be fine. And I had to run so fast that I could not stop. Basically, I had to grab her by the back of her clothes and sling her back, and then I went out in front of the car. So that's what I'm saying. It's not, that's the people, they'd be like, don't put me on camera, I'm out of here. Because it doesn't have to do with bravery. You calculate in nanoseconds. Period. Like, in other words, if that was a Mack truck coming down the road, I'm probably not going to jump out in front of it. Because the odds are that my body is not going to be able to pull through. And so that's the difference. We are seriously disconnected. Our body's experiences do not register in our minds, the feelings. So in other words, that's why therapy doesn't work. I still haven't made my video series on YouTube about what therapies do work. But y'all have to understand why DBT does not work. We don't care. But there's nothing to talk about. We don't have anything to work out. It's not. We're like, I was raped. Yeah, it happened. There's not some secret, suppressed, compartmentalized trauma back there. It's not there, okay? It's not there. There is no experience to work through, Mr. Therapist. Whatever. Any of the therapies that deal with talking or journaling or any of that, absolutely no good. We're like, what do you mean? They're like, how do you feel? I'm like, I feel fine. Well, how did it feel about when you were raped? It was unfortunate. I mean, what do you want me to say? borderline personality. And it's not hiding anywhere. It's not there. Right? You can get beat every day. Or even SA. That's why I tell you, SA is not necessarily a trigger for BPD at all. And you'll be like, it sucked. I will be relieved when this person leaves this earth. I'm not going to cry. Drop. And they're like, well, how do you think that changed you? It didn't. I just really hate that person, and I hope that they die. That's why these therapies do not work. No, Pickle Panda. That's why these therapies, that's counterintuitive. It doesn't work. It's not there. We don't have anything to talk about. We don't have anything to write about. We don't have anything to journal about. We just have to be told how to change the amygdala's functioning, which is done through neuroplasticity. So it is, that's what I'm teaching, what I'm going to be teaching on YouTube, because it is not about, we don't care. Y'all don't understand how much we don't care. Oh my God, we could die in a wreck with our family members, and we're like, well, they're not here anymore. I'm sad. That sucks. It was kind of gross. You know what I'm saying? When the time goes by, the DBT's not going to do anything. You know what I'm saying? So let's say you got in a violent wreck and like your mama's head was split open. Oh, that's going to upset you. You're not going to forget it. But when they ask you about it, be like, man, I was fucked up. So let's say it's like 2 years have gone by, or many years. Well, what do you think when you think about that wreck? Man, that was fucked up. There was brains everywhere. It was horrible. We're also that way with unalived bodies. Yes, Cowboy Bond, but very few. So unalived bodies, they're useless to us. Even if it's somebody you're close to. The minute they're gone, you're like, oh. I mean, I don't care. You can use it for fertilizer, berry. I don't care. They are 100% useless. If I drop dead and somebody put me out with the garbage, as long as I wasn't unalive, just throw me out with the garbage, I'm fine. There is absolutely no importance physically after the person leaves. You don't care. Yeah, not phased. You can find even really messed up. I lived in Florida in the city, so I came upon a homeless guy that had passed away, and no one had found him for a while. And you're like, oh, that is so gross. Man, I bet his family wonder where he's at. And you go right along with your day. Yeah, you're not going to have emotions when you see because it's not them. The memories that you had. No, you're not evil. As soon as that person is past, number one, you can tell immediately. You can tell immediately whether someone is in there. Period. And I don't know how to tell you that, but you know immediately. And then as soon as it's done, that it's irrelevant now. It doesn't matter. The body is absolutely irrelevant because they're gone. What is it? Triple Moon Goddess. It absolutely gets better. You have to put in the work. That's what I'm going to be teaching on Prozac. I am as close to being fixed as a person with BPA can get. And I put in 7 years of therapy. And then that's what allows me to handle any new experiences I come across. That's why I'm making the videos. Because even psychiatrists will make you look like, oh, it's hopeless. You're so full of it. You can absolutely get almost at least 85% better if you work at it. Oh, sorry. No, I'm talking about borderline. If you sit back and whine about it, you're not going to want to watch my videos because I ain't got no time for you. Right, Dreamweaver? Yeah. It took me a lot of therapy to get that way. There is well, here's the thing. There's quiet BPD, there's BPD and quiet BPD. So BPD, the difference is when quiet BPDs get mad, they withdraw and they may cry or they get mad and scream in their room. But most of us are standard BPD, and when we get mad, we get violent. No matter what it is. Violent. Way too violent for the situation, too. So, however, the technique that fixes BPD as much as it can be fixed works for either one. But the majority of us are very violent. The quiet BPD is the lesser one. And the regular BPD is the most frequent one. Physically violent. Very quick to hit. A lot of times it's vocal. But you don't have any problem invading somebody's space for physical violence. Not everybody does. Some of them just pop off at the mouth. But it's not long before the physical violence comes. Yeah, if you were pushed, though, you're absolutely going to do it. There's right now, privately, I'm so fighting the NMHI. Is that it? NMHI? Because they're trying to put BPD in with EDD, emotional dysphoric disorder. And I'm like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. That is two completely different things. Don't even go there. That's emotionally disruptive disorder, whatever. It's disrupt. And I'm like, absolutely not. Well, they're trying. This is the thing. You know what I tell y'all, that some of the wokeness is causing problems? This is one of those things that's causing problems. So BPD falls under the mental illness type as schizophrenia. And it should. Let me make that very, very clear. It is under a class with schizophrenia and a sociopath stuff. And it should be. Normally, people with BPD will have a schizophrenic in the family, but not immediate. So, like, not your grandpa, not your mom, but maybe your uncle. Cluster B, is that it? It absolutely should be there. Because a lot of people on this app get really mad because they're like, we don't need to be stigmatized. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. We are destructive. When you are... Okay, for the next part that I'm going to speak, I cannot speak for quiet borderlines, which are the minority number. So I'm not gonna talk about y'all. But the majority, which are standard borderline, we are the most manipulative. We will manipulate you. And by the way, we have no idea we're doing this. We just think we're just fine. We can be dangerous. We can be volatile. We can physically harm you. We will flip on you in a minute. You go from being an angel to being Satan. And if we need to be in that cluster. Well, I don't know. That's why I'm not going to speak to it. No, so the people on here that cry and they're like, I'm talking about borderline personality disorder. Lorraine Warnos. Or Eileen Warnos. What's her name? Warnos? Yeah, we can do that. Eileen. Yeah. It doesn't matter if you haven't, because you can. Eileen, oh, we can. Oh, we can. Yeah. It is not. Our BPD told the young. Oh no, we have two emotions. Very happy, absolutely insanely mad. That's the part you have to fix when you do the correct therapy. If you think of your amygdala in your brain, first of all, if you don't know where the amygdala is, go look on a graph and find out, because that's where your problem is. So on normal people, if you think of the amygdala as an interstate road in your brain, okay? And it has thousands of exits off that interstate. Thousands of exits. And a person with BPD, there's two. No matter how far you go on the interstate, I don't care how many states it goes through, we got two exits. Furious, and I love you. And in quiets, the mad can go to sad. But it's still two exits. That's it. No, there are no other exits. That's why you have to do the neuropathy, the neuroplasticity. You build the exits through the therapy, and it's like physically, you actually build the neuron pathways. I'm not saying that facetiously. You build them, but I don't go live often. No. And anyway, the traditional therapies can't touch it because we have nothing to talk about. And the therapists are like, they're not opening them up to me. No, bitch, I ain't got nothing else to talk about. There's nothing to open up to you about. I'm trying to tell you this for like 9 sessions now. No, but often people with BPD are misdiagnosed with OCD and bipolar because they don't ask the right question. There are very specific questions that have to be asked. This is why I'm like, I don't deal with therapists. They can go right out the door. I'm not messing with the therapist. Sorry if there's any therapists in here. Not messing with you. Y'all aren't trained for this. There are very specific about 7 questions that when you ask, you will instantly know if that person has BPD or not. And most therapists are not educated in that. And so it doesn't even come onto their thing. So I do not deal with therapists. No, my psychiatrist told me. I will not go through all the questions because I am not a licensed psychiatrist and I don't want to get taken down. But I will give you one of the main ones. Number 1 is a serious lack of empathy. However, not against the people that you love. So someone that's sociopath has no empathy. None. Someone with BPD has almost no empathy. You have to find an actual psychiatrist. No, you're talking about the symptoms, Royal Monarchy. I have all the symptoms. Except for faking slip and slide. Never had that urge because I was like, that's a product. The reason we don't actually do it is because what are we going to shoot? We don't have a self. What are we gonna unalive? We don't have a self. We don't have one. We might not like our situation. We might think it really sucks. We might not like our body. We might not like the situation. But the thought of unaliving yourself, unaliving what? I don't understand. So when I was before therapy, I was basically the most BPD you ever want to meet. Just completely. But anxiety is not the disorder. Your BPD can cause you to have anxiety, but it is not a disorder within you that is separate. So the other really, really big question that is asked is, okay, if you have BPD, number one, you're going to know the difference between loneliness and emptiness in relation to people. There's a difference between loneliness and emptiness. Okay? When you're BPD, even if you had everything that you want, that you personally think would make you happy, whatever that is, let's say you had it, every bit of it. It doesn't matter what you have, who you're with, how much you're loved, where you go. There is an emptiness that never goes away. And it will go from the center of your chest like a taproot straight through the earth on into outer space infinitely. And it never, ever, 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 ever goes away until you get medication. And this is why we do drugs, cigarettes, Smex, anything, because it goes away during those times. Borderline. We will be S workers, daredevils, try every substance in existence, drink anything that is around. It's so much more than a void if you can draw it in your mind, and it never goes away, no matter what. It's like a taproot that comes down here, it goes right out through your asshole, and it goes like a taproot to the center of the planet, and no matter where you go, what you do, what you have, how much you've accomplished, how good you look, how much money you have, who loves you, it never goes away. Ever. It's like your own personal black hole in the center of your soul. And only certain medicines can make it go away. You cannot, the therapy will 100% fail if you do not have a medication that only covers up that. Only covers up that. Not your anxiety medicine, not your Adderall medicine, nothing. None of the other stuff. You have to have a medication which tends to be a serotonin reuptake inhibitor to plug that. BPD made me make unwise decisions very early in my craft. It no longer, I'm 85% better. It doesn't affect it anymore. So when you have a medication that covers that up, we're going to talk about the people that are like, I tried 19 medications. I'm going to get to you in a minute. It is not, there's no point in doing therapy. Nothing will work because it goes right out that hole. Now, the problem with this is people don't like the medications that need to be used and the amount of medication that needs to be used for BPD. I have a lot of empathy now. That came back about, my empathy showed back up about 3 years after therapy. It came back. Now I'm fine. I'll be empathetic like a normal person now. But people don't like the medications that fix that hole. And I'm going to be not nice here, okay? Because you won't take the medicine long enough for it to work. This is the main problem with you guys if you have BPD. Okay? This is the number one problem. The best medicines, now I'm not going to talk about Lamictal. The best medications, when you first are diagnosed professionally by a psychiatrist with BPD, Elavil is your friend. You're not going to stay on Elavil. Elavil is a combination of a head med and a Xanax type medication. Okay? You need that together when you first start because you have to slow yourself down. Okay? You have to go, woo, 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 woo. What I'm telling you is you have to slow yourself down to right above zombie in order to wake yourself back up. That's number one, Elavil, Elavil. You have to request that medicine. They may not give it to you, okay? Because of the way everybody's like, oh my God, don't give them benzos. They can't. The other medication that works wonders, y'all don't want to wait for. And if you don't want to wait for it, I don't feel bad for you. And that is Zoloft. A lot of Zoloft. About 200 milligrams of Zoloft. When you first start 200 milligrams of Zoloft, you're going to be like, Wait. You will be like that. When you go from nothing to 200 milligrams of Zoloft, and they tend to throw in a trazodone for sleep, you will go all the way down to almost zombie. This is important. It's important. It lasts about 3.5 to 4 weeks. Okay? You'll be a zombie for 3.5 to 4 weeks. And then, out of nowhere, you'll wake up. All of a sudden, after 3.5 and 4 weeks, you're going to wake up one morning and be like, oh my God, I'm back. Everything is so clear. I can see clearly now. The rain is gone. And y'all won't wait. That's the problem. When you have to understand how severe borderline personality disorder is. You need to understand how violently severe borderline personality disorder is. If you're severely bad, you may even be put on risperidone to start. And that's going to boom, 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 boom. Y'all don't understand how severe and dangerous this disorder is. You don't want to put in the time. You find a way. Find family. I don't care if you have to move home with family so they can take care of your newborn and pump your breast while you're in a zombie fight. You have to be brought all the way down. Risperidone, you do not want to stay on for a long time. So maybe a month of risperidone, and then they'll start weaning you off. It depends on how you are. But Zoloft is one of the absolute best medications for it. If they don't give you Elavil to take for a month, they'll probably go with, it made me late, yeah. You can take, that's why you don't want to stay on risperidone long. It has some other side effects too. It is good as a maintenance medicine. For some people who has severe panic attacks and anxieties with mental illness, it helps, but you don't want to be on that for more than a month. And how emotional are people with quiet? Now, you still only got 2 emotions. So you have to wait for those medicines. It's going to put you out of commission. But if you want to get better, then you will find a way to pause your life. I don't care if you go to a friend, you're going to lose your house, lose your car because you don't have money. If you want to get better, you absolutely have to pause your life for about a month after getting an official diagnosis. You have lithium lithium either works good for people or it's a disaster. It was an absolute disaster for me. It didn't work and my fucking hair fell out. But for other people, it works good. But the reason is when it comes to lithium, with BPD, once you go through the correct therapy that I'm going to be putting on YouTube, when you're done with that therapy, you start applying it to your life every day. And after about actively applying it after a year, it becomes automatic and you form new connections within a couple of days. But when you encounter a situation that you did not encounter before, you hit it again. And a lot of times that's when lithium fails. That's when lithium fails. I was on Zoloft for 20... Give me a minute. Oh, they'll also try to sell you on the newest medication because they don't actually give a about your mental well-being. They want to sell the newest medication that Big Pharma is pushing, so you really have to advocate for yourself in the Elavil and the Zoloft department. You might not get Elavil, but you can get Zoloft, but you have to just put your foot down. I was on Zoloft from the age of 21. I'm 46 now, until I was 45. And 45 is when, at 45, I became financially secure. In other words, I don't mean rich. I mean, I don't have to worry that my rent's going to get paid. I don't have to worry that I have food in the house. That's what I call financially stable. Not secure, stable. And it turns out with BPD and a lot of other mental disorders, when your whole life, that part of your brain has been filled with the stress of meeting your basic needs, when that's no longer an issue, it's empty, and your mental illness was the first thing to fill it in. So never in my life did I have panic attacks until after I became stable in life. Yeah, it'll be loaded to YouTube. As soon as you become stable in life, you'll get extra symptoms. That's what happened to me. I tried natural remedies for about 8 months. It didn't work. And I went to my doctor and I said, this is what I've been on. Now I'm secure. She's the one that said, it's because you're stable. That part of your brain is empty and your mental illness fills it in. And so that is when I changed to Celexa. I chose Celexa because it's similar to Zoloft, but it works a little bit better, and there's no transition time. So I didn't have to wean off of one in order to take another one. You can stop your Zoloft on this day and start Celexa the next day. And so that's what's happening. A friend of mine is going through the same thing. They now have a home that is secure. They don't have to worry about being homeless anymore. And now their anxiety attacks just started coming more frequently out of nowhere for no reason. And I was like, this is it. All I know is he was a PhD in abnormal psychology. The guy that did mine. So it was 25 years later. But it's when you reach that secure point that you will have it pop back in. No, it's because you ever heard empty hands is the devil's playground or something? Idle hands are the devil's playground or something? That's what happens in your mind instead. They're doing bids for significant other family members, maintaining relationships with BPD. Big Bish, you're not going to like what I have to say about that. If you don't know where you got BPD and you think back, yeah, you'll think you're depressed most of the time. And you also think something's different about you than everybody else around you. Like, am I an alien? Like, when you don't know what you have. Yeah. Yeah. Take a roll on your body. Like, are you at an increased risk for kidney? I wasn't at an increased risk of anything with Zoloft. None. I don't have to do the devil's work. That's the same thing that happens in there. Popped up any lie? So it is getting better is a lot of work. And the NMHI, I'm constantly fighting with them because I don't have letters behind my name. I doubt they actually read the letters that I send, but I still send them. There are certain symptoms that, by talking to other BPD people, I think need to be added, such as the complete misinterpretation of other people's body language and the complete misinterpretation of other people's voice tones. That's not a reason, Aaliyah. I took Zoloft for 25 years. It did nothing. It's different when you're adding something to your body than when you're replacing something your body does not make. I want to do my best not to trigger those who have BP. That is not a reason, Big Bish. I'm sorry. You should not live your life worrying about triggering other people. That is their responsibility. Hey, Laura Maria. Too many medications you don't need. That's why I say they're going to try to put you on everything, and you need to dump everything and only do one of the SSRI reuptake inhibitors. You do not need to be careful of a BPD's triggers. That's not your problem. Those need to be aware of their triggers. Period. Voice tone. So if you misinterpret body language, facial expressions, and tone of voice, unless it's really blatant, like somebody's screaming in your ear and they're like, "I hate you." But you know how when people talk and they're trying to like get you to get the point without actually saying something, you will be completely oblivious to that. Just completely. Like when you ask somebody that you care about, they be like, "You all right?" And they're like, "Yeah, I'm fine." You're like, "Okay, cool." You're not totally not going to get that part. You are whatever, however, the way that they said "I'm fine" doesn't matter. You're gone because they said "I'm fine." You're like, "Okay, cool. Go on about your business." There's nothing. You're not going to get it unless you say "I am not fine." Because when you chew so loud, it makes me want to stab myself in the ears. And then you're like, "I hate you," but okay, I'll chew quieter. I hate you though. So you don't, no. Don't think somebody's supposed to just know you well enough. If you're friends with somebody that's BPD, they're not just gonna know you well enough to know what's wrong. We'd be like, "Bitch, you said you was fine. Bye." Like, no. Domingo, I don't blame you for that. And all I can say is when I get those videos up, to send them to those videos. Because if they go to a therapist, the therapist is not going to help them. And they're indeed going to feel like they're never going to get better. In fact, there are professional psychologists and therapists that are like, "Oh, there's no real getting better in BPD." And I'm like, "You, like, I want to physically injure them." So, yeah, that's what I mean by voice tone. Forget, you think it's hard for regular people to get the tone of a text message? We have no idea what's going on. No, that they didn't even let me apply for the house. What's another thing? Oh, when you think somebody is flirting with you, they're not. They're just being a nice human being. That's what I've learned. They're not flirting with you. They're just being a nice person. It is the trigger for BPD is 100% genetic. How bad you get is environmental. Well, I know you, Brandy, but 99% of the time, they're not flirting with you. That's why they never asked you out like you thought they might ask you out. No, because they weren't flirting with you. They were just being a decent human being. It's because we completely misinterpret body language, voice tone. We don't know how to human unless it is spoken explicitly. Yeah, we don't know how to human unless you say it, expressly say it. Oh, well, you'll miss the flirting too, but what I'm saying is 99% of the time when you think someone is flirting, they're not. It's not that they didn't call you because something's wrong with you, it's because they weren't flirting with you at all. I learned that real quick. We have no idea what's going on. Like, God, why did he acted like he was so into me. Why did he never call me? Bitch, he wasn't into you. He was just being polite. That's why. So, but getting back to the other thing that I originally came in here for. Now I understand, and I'm going to write some sort of paper to someone about it that'll probably never get read because I don't have letters behind my name. But I now understand what the self is when it comes to the human being. It is the unified, symbiotic experiences between the body and mind in normal people. And in those with BPD, that does not happen. Is that why you didn't take me seriously driving up our state to help you with a backlog of work? No, that is me not accepting help until the absolute last minute. That could be a sign of BPD, I don't know. But that's me trying not to impose myself. That's what that is. The one thing, the reason I only have like 2 friends is because the people you love the most, you ignore the most. Like, my 2 best friends, they understand that I'm not going to talk to you I might check in once a month. But if you call me out of nowhere and you're like, can you help me move? I'm like, I hate moving, but okay. We are not good at maintaining friendships. At all. We think that you should be fine. We're not here to hear about what your boyfriend did to you again. That's why we don't have friends. Because we're like, bitch, how many times are you going to get back with him? I don't even want to hear about it anymore. We're not here to support you. We are not here to support you at all. Would you want to do something fun? Cool. Is it an emergency? Got you. But that does not mean you need to talk to me every day. I don't want to talk to you. In fact, I only want to talk to you when I want to talk to you. That's how BPDs are. And you're either okay about that or you're not. My 2 besties are okay about that. And they also are not BPD, but they don't want to do the maintenance either. But they know that they cannot talk to me for 3 months and call me up and be like, I have an emergency. Can you come here and feed my dog every day even though I live an hour away from you? Yes, I can. Absolutely. Yeah. I don't want to talk to you unless I call you. Don't think I'm missing you. I'm not. Unless you leave me. Then I'm going to pay attention long enough. And then I'm not. Also, don't touch me. If you're a stranger on the street and I see you're having a bad day, I might go up to you and be like, are you okay? Would you like a hug? But if I love you, don't you fucking touch me. I love you too. Don't touch me. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't know what to tell you. Mom, don't touch me. Dad, don't touch me. Best friend, sit over there. There is no BPD mimic. You won't have trauma if you are borderline personality disorder. Period. Yeah, you don't want to like, don't touch me. But if there's a stranger you don't know, you're about, man, maybe that person just needs a hug. But your mom, you're like, oh, don't touch me. I love you. Don't touch me. Oh, I have to, the lack of trauma is universal in BPD. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. That's what, it doesn't matter how many expressions you have. You do not experience trauma from an event. It doesn't happen. Period. In BPD, any of them, it does not happen. That's the problem. What triggers BPD? Is it just trauma? Okay, let me. We're gonna get into that because there's lots of people that are misinformed about that, and it triggers my BPD, and I want. So there's this trendy little woke thing going around that you don't necessarily have to have a trigger for BPD. That's a lie. Lie. Understand? Read my lips. Lie. Lie. The problem is, when you look for your trigger, you're looking back to an adult's mind. What traumatizes you now does not necessarily traumatize you as a child. So when you are looking for your trigger, you may even have to go to your parents. Because a trigger for a child can be vastly different than a trigger for an adult. For instance, if you're a little kid and you're 8 and you get off your school bus and the bus drives off and you see in the road your very best friend Spot the dog plastered with his eyeballs popping out of his head, that can be your trigger. You're looking at it through adult eyes. You will never find it with adult eyes. You have to look back. It's not a conditional response. This is a trigger. This turns your BPD on. When you look back, you have to look back with the memory and eyes of a child. And if you have your parents, they will tell them to think. It's going to take them a minute. There will be an event in your child life where you just kind of clocked out for 2 to 3 days. They might have found you in a corner. I was in the boiler room in the basement. I don't remember this. This is what they told me. Another time, I hid underneath the comforter of a made-up bed, and it was a poofy comforter, so they couldn't find me at all. I didn't speak. I didn't eat, really, for 2 days. And on the 3rd day, right when they thought about getting a doctor, I came back. So there will be an event in your child life, and they will tell you that is exactly what will happen. For me, most often, it is a parental figure or sibling that unexpectedly died. That's a lot of it. Everybody's like, SA. Oh no, there are plenty of people that are SA'd, and it is a completely different thing that triggered them. So no, it doesn't. That's what I'm saying. You have to look back. Someone said, there you go. Nana gave a good one. Mine was my granny. That was not possible in my world. Not possible. Not possible. So a lot of times it is the loss of someone very, very close to you. But for a child, that can be their dog. It can be their cat. It can be their pet hamster. You have to look back through the eyes of a child. It could be a child that was in an accident and one of their relatives is dead during the accident. And when you ask the people that were around you, they will tell you that you just clocked out for a couple of days. You disappear into spaces that you normally don't go, and they can't find you. Jaded saw my dad's dead. There's nothing you can do. That it is genetic. the switch turns. You can't stop it. You can't prevent it. There's nothing you can do. You need to let it flow and understand what's happening to them afterwards. It's not something you can stop. You can't do anything about it. But if they do that clock out thing for a couple days, and on the third day, all of a sudden your kid came back, that's what happened. Was diagnosed with CPTSD. They're throwing that around a lot, and I just don't know about CPTSD to speak on that at all. It's an event, blah, blah, blah.
No, that's not what CPS is.
I'm not talking about CPSD. For BPD, it is an event. It's not an extended thing. It is an event that starts it. And that's... No, I was just... They said something. I said, I don't know enough to speak about it. That's trauma-induced catatonia, Bluebell 2317. That's a different thing. Yeah, it's one event that triggers it. Can I have another ice cream too? Yeah, I feel like I'm cheating, but I want to.
Cheating?
I don't know.
You're not cheating on me?
Yes, D'Amico, but that's why I said ask your parents. They'll tell you. You will be young enough to remember, because that seems to happen. The self-awareness causes it. But usually, thank you. Usually it's between, and most people it's between like 5 and 10 or 11. And that's it. If it doesn't happen then, it doesn't happen. I mean, but I had to come on here and share. I'll make a BPD. Let me try that again. I will make a TikTok showing the link to that video that triggered everything. Like, now I know what the self is in order to explain that to other people. What's up, you sexy motherfucker?
How many people are in there?
90.
Oh.
And I had some questions, and I just said, I don't discuss my religion.
None of your fucking business.
So, you want to come say hey? Come on, stir the pot. Just get your ass down here and stir the pot. Oh no, I learned the last time, I don't discuss this publicly online anymore. If it has to do with this, I do not share. Y'all just think what you want to.
That's none of your business.
I never had a favorite person in BPD. I don't know if that's trendy or not. I don't know where that came from. And I don't know enough about it to speak on it. I don't know enough about CPTSD to speak on it. I really don't.
People who get PTSD.
No, they're saying, are the symptoms somewhat similar? And I was like, I don't know enough about that. But you don't have trauma. So I don't...
Are they talking about regular PTSD versus CPTSD?
No, it was one question about CPTSD.
Oh.
Your mind went dirty? I mean... I'm just saying. All I said was I'm not going to talk about it anymore. Yeah. This leg hurts. Right? Not my leg. You're like, why is that leg hurting? But, um, no, I want ice cream. This is the Haagen-Dazs stuff. This is the good shit. The chocolate on Haagen-Dazs is so good. Yeah. Also on here, what's the other thing people think this is? Santeria stuff? I didn't say what was correct. This is my religion. This has nothing to do with my practice, and I don't discuss that. Just like I didn't discuss Hinduism with y'all. I don't discuss my religion, and I no longer discuss my dick. Learned those lessons.
People who practice. Okay, I'm not gonna. I don't feel like talking to these people tonight.
Yeah, I'm not gonna talk about it. Did I reject it? Learning I was BPD? No, it was finally an answer. I finally had an answer. I finally had something that I could fix. My readings should open up. You should be able to schedule for March around the middle of February. I was so glad. I don't have a $90 half hour. Good Lord. Oh, hour and a half. I was about to say. Anyway. I'm going to go now, and I will upload this to YouTube whenever it lets me. And then I'm going to, at some point, I'm going to make a TikTok with the link to that talk. Okay? Okay. Jody Lynn, yes, just book what's called a general consultation. It's just a general consultation. The book should be out the last week of January is what I'm shooting for. The last week of January, but I'll announce it. I'm leaving, Jaded. Do you want me to call you? Let me in. I'm leaving. Do you want me to call you? I'll let you in. Nothing's happening. Hello?
Okay. Hold on. Okay, do you see me? Okay. You know how today, like literally the entire live, you went on a fucking prophecy about new knowledge that you learned about BPD?
Yeah.
I kid you not, he fell over for no fucking reason.
Toth.
He just did it too. I just put him back. He fell backwards against the wall for no reason.
That's one of the knowledge people. That's it's that one, isn't it?
Ridiculous.
Isn't it that?
Talk about this stuff on live. Get off live.
Okay. Damn. Thank you for telling me that.
Okay.
Oh, you just got okay. I'm gonna get off the phone now.
Okay, bye.
I love you.
Love you too, bye.
Bye. Okay, bye, y'all. No, I want